Good morning, students. I hope you all are safe at your home. So this video is for the students of class 9, subject science, chapter number 12, that is sound. It's your lecture number 2. Topics to be discussed in today's lecture are compressions and rarefactions and characteristics of sounds. So, under the characteristics, we shall study wavelength, frequency and time period. So let's start with today's lecture. Propagation of sound through air. Yesterday we discussed what is sound and how is sound produced. Okay, so let us study today about the propagation of sound. When a vibrating object moves forward, it pushes and compresses the air in front of it, creating a region of high pressure. This region is called as compression. Okay, when the air is compressed, that is compression, and it is represented by capital C. Similarly, when the vibrating object moves backward, it creates a region of low pressure which is called as rarefaction. Okay, and rarefaction is represented by capital R. See, the object is moving backward and forward. Okay, so as the object moves back and forth rapidly, a series of compressions and rarefactions is created in the air. Okay, let us study in detail. Let us study with the help of example. Suppose I take this tuning fork. Okay, this is tuning fork. Now I strike this tuning fork on a very hard object. Okay, I strike this tuning fork on a very hard object, then it vibrates. So you can see when this tuning fork vibrates, a series of compressions and rarefactions is created in the air. Okay, you can see this region. It is compression because the molecules of air, they are crowded. Okay, they are compressed. So that's why this region is called as compression. Whereas the next region, it is rarefaction. Why? Because the molecules, they are spread. They are not crowded. You can see they are spread. So that is rarefaction. Where the molecules are not compressed, they are spread. Now after rarefaction, again compression, the molecules are compressed. Then again rarefaction, the molecules are spread. So I think now you are clear about the compression and rarefaction. So when an object vibrates, a series of compressions and rarefaction is created. Let us take one more example so that will be more clear to you. I am taking a spring. Okay, now I compress it, then release it. So what will happen? At some places, the spring or the coil, it is crowded. Okay, at some places, the coil is crowded together. So that crowded portion, that is called as compression. Okay, the region where the coils are crowded, that is compression. And what is rarefaction here now? The region where the coils are spread apart. You can see this is spread apart. This region is spread apart. This region, the coils are spread apart. Again, this region, the coils are spread apart. So this region, that is rarefaction. So I hope now you are well clear about the compression and rarefaction. So what is compression and rarefaction in normal words? The regions where the coils become closer are called as compressions. And the regions where the coils are further apart. Further apart means spread apart. They are called as rarefactions. Now, there was one more term in the starting. We talked about pressure. So, what is pressure basically here? Pressure is related to the number of particles of a medium in a given volume. Means how much particles or how many particles they are present in a given volume of a medium. If more number of particles means more density of particles, it means more pressure. So in which case, compressions or rarefactions, the pressure is more. The pressure will be more where the particles are more. So in compressions, the molecules are compressed, means more number of particles, so greater density or greater pressure. Then rarefaction, in rarefaction, the particles they are spread apart, means less number of particles, means less density or less pressure. So are you clear about this? Compression, it is comprised of greater density and rarefaction is comprised of less density. So now let's have a quick recap about the compressions and rarefactions. Compressions, the regions where the particles are crowded together, that is compression. The density as well as pressure is high, that I discussed right now. Next is rarefactions, the regions where the particles are spread apart, that is rarefaction. In this, the density as well as pressure, it is low. So now you can easily differentiate between these two. Okay. Now students, I discussed how to represent a wave, how to represent compressions and rarefactions. Right? So in the first figure, in A part, compression, it is represented by more number of particles. Okay, and rarefaction, it is represented by less number of particles. Then again compression represented by more number of particles, rarefaction represented by less number of particles. So this is the first way to represent compressions and rarefactions. The B figure, this is the second way to represent compression and rarefaction by lines. Okay, in the first figure we were representing by dot and in the second figure we are representing by lines. So in compressions, more number of lines, and rarefactions, less number of lines, compressions, more number of lines, rarefactions, less number of lines, and so on. So are you clear? If a question comes, show compressions and rarefactions. So you can draw any of the figure. Either you are represented by dot or represented by line, your wish. Now the third figure, that is showing a wave. In the previous lecture I discussed with you how to draw a wave. So are you familiar with this wave? Okay. Now I'm telling you one important thing here. Please listen carefully. This upper part of the wave means the wave which is present above x-axis. This upper part of the wave we call as compressions. Okay, compressions are represented by upper part of the wave. And rarefactions, they are represented by lower part of the wave. This is rarefaction, this is rarefaction. Okay, they are represented by lower part of the wave. So are you clear about this? And one more thing, this upper part, okay, this is called as crust. the tip of this compression, that is called as crust, and the tip of this rarefaction, it is called as trough. Clear everyone? You can write down these 2 points. The upper part of the wave, it is called as compression, and the lower part of the wave, that is rarefaction. The tip is called as crust, and the lower tip, it is called as trough. Now, our next topic is characteristics of sound waves. First is wavelength. What is wavelength? The distance between two consecutive compressions or two consecutive rarefactions is called the wavelength. Consecutive means लगातार. Now you know that the wave above the x-axis, that is compression. So these are compressions which I have shown by yellow color. Okay, and the waves below the x-axis, they are called as rarefaction. So this is rarefaction which I have shown by red color. Clear? Now what is wavelength? The distance between two consecutive compression. This is compression and this is compression. Okay, so the distance between these two, this distance, this is called as wavelength. Okay, consider this tip only, and here also consider this tip. So the distance between two consecutive compressions, it is called as wavelength. Now again see, if I take two consecutive rarefactions. Okay, suppose this is one wave, so this is second wave. So these two are rarefactions, consecutive. See, they are consecutive. This is first rarefaction, this is second rarefaction. So they are consecutive. So this is wavelength. Okay. So are you clear about wavelength? Now this wavelength, it is represented by lambda. This is how you need to draw the lambda. Okay. This is how the wavelength is represented. And what is the SI unit of wavelength? It is meter, because it is a distance, and distance we measure in which unit? Meter. So the SI unit of wavelength is also meter. So are you clear about this wavelength? So students, from point A to point B, is this the wavelength? Yes, this is wavelength, because these 2 points or these 2 waves, they are consecutive to each other. If I consider B and C, the distance between B and C, that is also wavelength, because they are consecutive to each other. Okay, if I consider points D and point E, that is also wavelength. If I consider next G and H, so the distance between these two, that is also wavelength. But if I take this H point and J point, and the distance between them, is this the wavelength? H and J? No, it is not wavelength. Why? Because these 2 points H and J, they are not consecutive to each other. Okay, because I is there in between. So the H and I, this distance HI, that is wavelength. I and J, that is also wavelength. But H and J, that is not a wavelength. Okay, so I hope now you are clear with the wavelength. Next characteristic is frequency. What is frequency? Frequency tells us how frequently an event occurs. Suppose I am beating a drum. Okay, I am beating a drum. So how many times I beat a drum in 1 minute? That is frequency. So what is frequency? It is defined as number of oscillations per unit time. Oscillations means vibrations. Okay, number of oscillations or vibrations per unit time. And this frequency, it is represented by nu. This is a letter nu. That is the representation of frequency. This is nu. There's a difference between V and nu. Slight tilted, that is nu. Okay. And what is the SI unit of frequency? It is hertz. Represented by symbol capital H small z. Okay. So this is frequency. Now you can see, suppose I'm beating a drum. So how many vibrations are occurring? In first case, there are so many vibrations. In second case, there are only few vibrations. So which is highest frequency? The high frequency is in case number 1, because there are more vibrations, more oscillations. And in second case, the frequency is low. Why? Because less number of vibrations or less number of oscillations are there. So are you clear about frequency? Now students, there are two important terms, tone and note. So what do you mean by tone and note? A sound of single frequency is called as tone. Okay, the sound which consists of only single frequency, that is called as tone. And what is note? The sound which is produced due to a mixture of several frequencies. It is called as note. Okay, in tone only single frequency is there, and in note mixture of several frequencies is there. So are you clear about these two? Very easy. Now the third characteristic of sound is time period. What is time period? The time taken to complete one oscillation or one vibration. That is called as time period. Okay, when the time taken to complete one oscillation, that is time period. And this time period, it is represented by capital T. Okay, and what is the SI unit of time period? It is seconds, represented by small s. So are you clear about the time period? Now students, I am showing you one figure. You know how to calculate number of waves. So how many waves are there in this? This is half wave. This is again half wave, means one wave total. Then again half wave means 1.5 wave. Okay. So what is time period? Time period, I told you right now, time taken to complete one oscillation or one vibration or one wave. Okay, so one wave is completed up to which point? Up to this point. One wave is completed. So this time period, this is T. Time taken to complete this one oscillation. Now are you clear? This is one oscillation, one wave, one vibration. So this is time period. The time taken to complete one oscillation, one vibration. Clear everyone? Now there is one topic, relationship between time period and frequency. Right now I discuss what is frequency and what is time period. So what is the relationship between these two? Frequency and time period, they are related as follows. Frequency, it is represented by nu, and time period is represented by T. So what is the relationship between them? Frequency is equal to 1 upon time period. Okay, frequency is equal to 1 upon time period. So this is the relationship between time period and frequency. Now if you are given time period, you can calculate frequency easily. And suppose if you are given frequency, you can calculate time period by applying this formula. So you can note down this formula. This is a very important formula. So that's it for today's lecture. So what is your homework? You will have to do the following questions in your notebook. Question number 1 is, what are wavelength, frequency and time period of a sound wave? Question number 2 is, differentiate between compressions and rarefactions. So differentiate in tabular form. And question number 3 is, the frequency of a source of sound is 100 Hz. How many times does it vibrate in a minute? So these are the 3 questions. Now students, I would be discussing the homework solutions of lecture number 1. So you can match your answers and correct if any error. Question number 1 was, how does the sound produced by a vibrating object in a medium reach your ear? Or question number 2, what is sound and how is it produced? The answer to both the questions, they are same. So what is the answer? First of all, you will tell what is sound. Sound is a form of energy that produces sensation of hearing in our ears. Now after definition, you will tell how is it produced. Sound is produced due to the vibration of the objects. When a vibrating object moves forward in a medium, it pushes and compresses the air in front of it, creating a region of high pressure called as compression. When the vibrating object moves backward, it creates a region of low pressure called as rarefaction. So, as the object moves back and forth rapidly, a series of compressions and rarefactions is created in the air. This makes the sound wave that propagates through the medium. This process continues until the sound waves reaches to the ear of listener. Then after this you will have to draw the diagram showing the compression and rarefaction. They are reaching to the listener's ear. Okay, actually this question was to be given today, but I gave you yesterday. So you can write down the points of today's lecture also in this question about compressions and rarefactions. Okay. Question number 3 was, explain how sound is produced by a school bell. This question is also same to that question, only the first 2-3 lines you need to add. So what is the answer? Usually the school bell contains the metallic hard sheet and the other object like hammer or any other. When the hammer-like object is struck to that metallic sheet, it produces the vibrations and thus makes the sound that propagates through air. So when the school bell vibrates, it forces the adjacent particles in air to vibrate. As the bell continues forward and backward, it produces a series of compressions and rarefactions. And this makes the sound of a bell propagate through air. Okay, so it is very easy question. You just need to write the procedure how the vibration occurs. And that's why how the sound is produced. Clear? Question number 4 was, Suppose you and your friend are on the moon. Will you be able to hear any sound produced by your friend? Answer: no. You will not be able to hear any sound produced by your friend. Why? The reason is that the sound waves, they require a material medium for their propagation. And there is no medium, there is no atmosphere in the moon. So how can you hear the sound? No, you cannot hear the sound produced by your friend because there is no medium. Clear, everyone? Question number 5 was, why are sound waves called as mechanical waves? Very easy. They are called as mechanical waves because they need medium for propagation. Sound cannot travel through vacuum. Question number 6 was, why is sound wave called a longitudinal wave? Answer: sound waves are called as longitudinal waves as during the propagation of sound through a medium, the individual particles of the medium, they move in the direction parallel to the direction of propagation of wave. Okay? That's it for today's lecture. Thank you.